about the form of barefoot running. The movement is a really simple movement you've done ever since you were a kid. It's just like marching in place. Like if you pretend you're a little 5-year-old at Christmas and he's just got this toy gun and he's pretending he's a soldier and he's marching in place. That is how you run barefoot. Slow and short steps. Don't try to be graceful. Okay? You're just lifting the foot up and you're putting it down. Lifting it up and you're putting it down. We're not toeing off. We're not opening up the stride. We're marching in place. We're lifting it up, setting it down. So there's no friction, there's no impact, there's no trauma. No blisters, no calluses. Okay? You're putting your foot down, you're still moving forward, you're not moving it backwards so that when it touches the ground, it has no relative forward or backward motion. Okay, like if you think you're riding on a unicycle that had pedals that touch the ground. As you come around again, when it gets to the ground, the relative motion of your foot with relation to the ground is zero. Okay? Even though your body's moving forward, whenever your foot touches the ground, when it touches the ground, it's not moving in relation to the ground, except vertically, like marching in place, lifting it, and setting it back down. The way to achieve that is to constantly be thinking short and quick steps. You're touching down flat-footed, and you are not pushing off, and you're trying to achieve 180 steps a minute. Keep that 180 going if you don't mind spending a little money. You don't have to spend any money on running shoes, right? So you got all this free cash, you can buy this other stuff. One would be a metronome. It's a little pocket metronome. They cost about 15 bucks. And you can set it, flash visually or to make a beeping sound. And this right now is 170. Okay, so I would say don't try to get 180 immediately. 180 would be for someone who's average height or shorter. If you're really tall, maybe 180 is never going to be completely comfortable. But something in that range, 170 to 180. So let's do 170 and just here together without trying to make any progress down the road. That's not hard to do, right? Takes no effort. I won't obsess about it, but if you can maintain a nice, quick turnover, what that means is you're doing two things. It means your stride is not too long, because if it starts to spread out, you're going to slow down your cadence, and you're not going to be pushing off. You're going to probably be marching in place, just like that. Something that protects yourself from hurting yourself barefoot, keeping a short stride. Okay, and a quick turnover. They go together. If you can't do 170, it probably means your stride is too open. So I want you to feel like when you're running, that you're running and your heel is almost stepping on your toe. Okay, that is a short stride. You can do that at 170. Okay. Thing that you already learned from being on the gravel, I hope, is you want to run like Groucho. Groucho Marx. You're all too young to know that. He was a comic back in the 30s, had a painted-on mustache, big cigar, and the way he would walk around was with his legs. Part of his comedic absurdity was he would walk around with his legs amazingly bent, his knees bent. He'd walk like that. So go on YouTube and find some clips of Groucho, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So you don't literally, again, not literally want to run stoop down like him. You just want to, when you're running, think Groucho. And that's going to drop you, maybe it's only a millimeter or two, what you'd normally do. But you don't want to make big changes all at once. That's where you're going to injure yourself. You just want to say, that's the direction I want to move in. I want to try to have my knees bent. That'll help you not bounce and jog. Because we don't want to jog, we want to run. Running is smooth. do to run, you got to have your knees down. It's what you've probably already been told in any running book, because everybody seems to agree on everything from the hips up. You want everything vertical, okay? You want your chest out, jaw in, like all of the bones are stacked one on top of the other. If you're not running like this, you have to hold everything up. Everything's relaxed, and it can be relaxed because it's all balanced. The head, on the neck, on the chest, on the hips. The hips are the foundation of everything. So everything is just balanced on the hips, and the hips get pushed down and forward. So pushing your hips down does two things. Since your head isn't moving, when you push the hips down, that's stretching all of this. Right? So you're running tall from your hips up. You're running short from your hips down because you're pushing. So how do you land? Are you a forefoot striker or are you a heel striker? You don't want to be any kind of striker. You don't want to strike at all. And you don't want to heel strike or forefoot strike. You want to, you say midfoot, but there's really nothing in the midfoot. You want to have both of them touch pretty much together. Now if you look at Ken Bob on those high-speed videos in the laboratory, you'll see that his forefoot does come down some milliseconds before his heel does. So I guess you could say you want to be forefoot striking, but it is so close to the same that I think it's probably counterproductive to think I want to strike first with my forefoot. You want to just come down and distribute the impact between the heel and the forefoot. So don't run on your toes. In fact, don't try to run properly at all. Don't think about forefoot striking or heel striking because you shouldn't be focusing on the landing. Everybody thinks, well, the landing is the whole thing, right? An airplane, or like anybody can take off, it landing is where it gets dicey. So running, where you hurt yourself, is on the landing. When the foot comes down and it steps on that half of a whiskey bottle, or it steps on, all that bad stuff that's out there, that's the scary part. You need to forget about the landing and focus on the takeoff. If the takeoff is good, the landing will take care of itself. So the takeoff means what? It means quick. It means if it's on the ground, it's already been on the ground too long. It needs to come off again. Lifting up at 170 per minute, then your stride is going to be short, your knees are going to be bent, you're not going to be bouncing, and so the landing is going to be gentle. Okay? So let's go. In Ken Bob's clinic, he uses about 1/10 of the verbiage that I do. So I don't know whether he doesn't talk enough. More likely I talk way too much.